Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. What do we got today, Rick?
We got the Week 7 waiver wire report.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Well, friends, Week 6 in the books.
Dang.
Currently, I have the Buffalo Bills against the Kansas City Chiefs on my phone. So if I emotionally react, that is why.
Okay. And
I need Josh Allen to get 1,065 points. I'm 4 points down right now.
that should be easy enough. It's like the second quarter.
Yep.
I think you'll be fine.
Well, I would hope. You know what'll happen? It'll be like a 60-yard touchdown catch for Cole Beasley. It'll just end my week. I have Josh Allen. I mean, how many fantasy points is that for him?
That depends on what our scoring is, but it'll probably be more for Beasley.
Yeah. Welcome to the Week 7 content for the Fantasy Champions. We are cruising. That means that after Week 7, you have 6 weeks. 6 dang flabbing weeks of the fantasy regular season.
Really? It's only 6 weeks?
Yeah. And it also means that you are 3 weeks away from your trade deadlines. If you have a trade deadline Week 10. So time is flying for most of us. We haven't. I was at our home league meeting. I meant to bring up when we were going to do the trade deadline. Totally forgot to do that. So now we're going to have a giant argument mid-season about it. Or I could just quietly change it to Week 12. Because I feel
that would definitely cause some ruckus.
They'd be like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, I like trading until Week 12. I find it interesting and fun. In December, you're making trades.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
So we're going to talk about the waiver wire on this episode, break down some guys you should add. Obviously, some interesting things happened this week in terms of injuries and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We'll break all that down on the Friday episode, but some of it might pop into the show because you might need to pick some handcuffs up. So before we jump into that, check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at the FFChamps, on Instagram at thefantasychampions. You can like us at facebook.com/The Fantasy Champions. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platform, please leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Also, if you're listening, I totally forgot. Like, you're listening on the podcast, just subscribe. Easy enough.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, if you listen to content on YouTube and you're like, oh, wow, I like these guys. And you take the time to leave a comment, you should also take the time to subscribe. It's easy as that.
Just do it.
Just
don't
easy.
even think about it.
Like, you hit subscribe. It's like the easiest thing you could do today to support our brand. And we're not asking you for $10 a month. We're not asking you for money. We're just asking you to subscribe. Simple as that. Get us to 1,000 subs on YouTube.
And if you do that, Morgan will shave my head.
I will shave his head if we reach 1,000 before the end of the season. There is a timeline on that. Yeah, because in 2 years, somebody will be like, remember that time 2 years ago you said that, Mahomes just fumbled it. And he recovered. That's all right. Anyway, so
we'll be doing that all podcast.
Yes, I'm going to be stopping, and I literally had the phone right next to my computer, and I'm watching this. That was a terrible snap. So let's jump right into the Week 7 waiver wire. So can you give me? As per normal with quarterbacks, there's no one that you want to run out and add unless there was an injury at quarterback, which I don't believe we had this week. So just give me an option for streaming.
When looking at some of these names, it's funny. Everybody was talking about Kirk Cousins, including us. I think he was our start of the week, wasn't he?
Yeah.
This past week, and I hated it, and I think he stunk, but he still got like 20 plus fantasy points in trash time. So
yeah,
even if it doesn't seem like it's a perfect matchup, I think trash time is important. Mm-hmm. If he's available in your league, someone who's been good, I think Justin Herbert against the Jaguars is somebody who I'd look at.
Who was the first guy? You said Herbert, and who else?
I didn't say anybody else. I was just mentioning Kirk Cousins.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, got you.
If he's available in your league, which I don't think he is, but Matt Stafford's playing the Falcons this week, which is a fantastic matchup. I mean, Kirk Cousins lit them up in the fourth quarter in trash time when they were playing prevent defense. But still, fantasy points are fantasy points. So I think Matt Stafford.
Hold on a second. I'm just looking at some of these numbers. Jimmy Garoppolo at New England?
No, gosh, no. No.
No, I mean, like, come home, honey. Jimmy G's coming back to New England. Let's go.
He is.
I'm
just
actually
for Bill
happy.
to get 3 interceptions on him, though. So
yeah, I got homo there on Jimmy Garoppolo for a second.
Yeah, you did. Sheesh.
I was a little bit. You don't tell me you're not excited to see Jimmy Garoppolo in New England.
I am. Don't get me wrong. But Aaron Rodgers, I think, could have a big bounce back week this week too against Houston if anybody drops them after just like a reaction over this week. But I'd say probably Herbert.
What about
he's probably gonna be available.
What about Bridgewater?
Yeah, I mean
he's probably owned, but if he's not, I would check. He's playing New Orleans, so I mean,
I don't know if he's gonna be owned in a 1 quarterback league.
Yeah.
And against New Orleans, that's definitely not a bad matchup. And maybe he could have a favorable game script too. There might be a chance that they're like losing late by a touchdown or something. It should be a good game either way. So he'll be forced to throw the ball.
I don't know if
that shouldn't be a bad one.
I don't know if you referenced Daniel Jones, but
I did not.
It's a gross one, but
it's Thursday Night Football too.
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of. It's just
I don't like quarterbacks on, but he usually does okay. And I don't want to say that without
proper evidence.
I don't think this is a great start, but Carson Wentz has been okay.
I was actually fantasy wise, he actually has not been as bad.
He's not been as bad as you would think, but he's also on Thursday night. So going by my traditional, I'm not going to start guys on Thursday Night Football ideal. I will avoid him. There's not a lot of streaming options at this point, as far as what I can see. You do have, according to who's Derek Carr playing this week?
The Raiders play the Buccaneers. That's kind of a tough matchup.
Yeah, I don't know that I would start him against. But Derek Carr has had a couple of good matchups.
Sure.
I was thinking about a trade I made in Dynasty League earlier this year. I desperately needed a second running back in a team I'm rebuilding, and I traded Derek Carr and Laviska Shenault for Mark Ingram, and I feel like an idiot.
That might be the worst trade.
It might be the worst. I knew it was a bad trade when I made it, but I was so desperate for a running back.
Yeah, you should have just knew you weren't going to win. You're in a rebuild, and you still trade a top rookie.
I thought I had a chance. I was like, I got Zeke. I got some pieces here. I can make it happen. Did it 2 seconds before week 1 started. Never again.
Yeah.
Never again will I make a trade on the Sunday of week 1.
I did the exact. I made a trade literally at like 12:59, and not being a bad deal. Yeah. So I think you're just an idiot.
I was desperate. Honestly,
no, I know.
I didn't think Shenault. Literally, I just want to note Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going off right now.
Love it.
I think they just signed Le'Veon Bell just to spite him, and then he's like, you know what? Frick this.
Yeah.
Go buy Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Might be too late now.
So, is there any other quarterbacks though that you would want to?
I think that my big one is Justin Herbert.
Okay, fair enough.
And other than that, I don't think so.
Okay, we'll start off with the obvious. There were, I think, was there 2 injuries at running back or 1? It was Miles Sanders and
Miles Sanders got hurt.
And Joe Mixon.
Mostert got hurt.
Mostert got hurt.
Mixon left the game, but he came back. He was fine.
Okay, is Mostert a long-term thing, or is he?
It seemed like an ankle injury, so it could be like a week or 2, maybe.
Okay, I don't think there's anybody on the waiver wire that would affect the 49ers besides Jeff Wilson Jr. But I don't. He's been hurt too, so I don't. At least from what I know,
McKinnon's still available. He'll probably, I think, be the starter.
Yeah.
If he's available in your league, though, I don't know if he is.
Now, also, we had obviously some news this past week. Le'Veon Bell was traded to the Jets. Traded to the Chiefs So that leaves the Jets wide open in terms of the running back situation.
Oh, Mark Ingram also got hurt this week too.
Mark Ingram got hurt. Okay.
But they have a bye week, so I think it's a 2 to 3 week injury, so there's a chance he could come back.
Okay, yeah, but there's no one in Baltimore that would be a backup for him. So for me, I think Boston Scott owned in 12% of leagues right now. And I would also maybe throw in there in deeper leagues Corey Clement as options. That you can pivot to. He, as in Miles Sanders, did not play week 1. Touchdown, Clyde. He did not play well in week 1 when Miles Sanders was out.
Did he get a lot of the work, though?
I believe so. It was Boston Scott all the way. Never mind. They took back the score. Holding. Forgive me. Play-by-play the day after is always the best. So Boston Scott, though, is a good addition. I just don't know who's Philly playing this week. You said it was the Giants. Oh, that's such a good matchup.
It is.
Yeah, I would pick up Scott and probably start him in a flex role because Miles Sanders is out this week. That is confirmed.
Yes.
You don't have to hold your breath at all waiting for that. But Corey Clement in deeper leagues, I wouldn't start him, but I'd pick him up just in case. Who are you looking at this week for running backs?
If he's available in your league, the number 1 guy on this list is Justin Jackson.
I was trying to talk about touchdown Kelsey. Good God. I was trying to talk about the Jets backfield, which we'll get to, but I started getting sidetracked by the Eagles. Continue. Sorry.
Justin Jackson. He was on our show last week, and he's going to be on our show this week if he's still available. He actually, I think, had more work than Joshua Kelly. They pretty much split, but he got a little bit more work than Kelly, and he outproduced him. Actually. So I think Eckler is out for at least another 3 to 4 weeks. So Justin Jackson, while he is there, is going to be a pretty solid RB2.
Yeah. They were on a bye this week, correct?
He's not going to put up the numbers that Eckler was putting up.
Yeah.
To his extent at least, but he's still going to get I think he had 12 fantasy points in half PPR. Yeah. So I think he can do that pretty much on a week-to-week basis. I think he can be a solid RB2 flex play.
The interesting thing too is that he had 6 targets and 5 receptions in the last game they played against New Orleans.
Yeah.
So I mean that is a pretty good floor. It was an ugly 6 targets for 5 receptions. He only had 23 yards, but it's still a floor in terms of what he can do pass catching wise. They are playing Jacksonville this week, who ranks 30th against the run. So if you need a running back, this is the week to pick that guy up. I would assume that Justin Jackson being on the bye, not being an influential part of the Chargers offense. I mean, now with Austin Eckler out, he kind of is, but with them being on a bye, I think a lot of people kind of cut him.
Sure.
And right now he's owned in only 48.9% of leagues, or people just haven't picked him up. But he does have a very good matchup this week, and he's a guy that I would be very comfortable starting against what was it?
The Jaguars. Jaguars. I mean, he had 19 touches this week.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, he had 20 touches, and Joshua Kelly had 12. And on the ground, a lot of people thought Kelly would be better. Kelly rushed for 2.6 yards a carry, and Jackson rushed for 4.7. So,
yeah,
I think
Justin Jackson's the guy.
At least to start this week, he's going to be the starter.
Okay. How much would you spend on Justin Jackson or Boston Scott, the handcuffs?
If you have Miles Sanders, I'd spend a lot. Or even if you just have any running back that could be out on a bye week this week and you need a running back replacement, I'd spend a decent amount on him if you have the money. What would you say, $20? Yeah. It's only going to be one.
I would go 15 on Boston Scott if he was available.
Yeah. And I'd go a little bit more on Jackson. But again, it's only going to be for 3 or 4 weeks until Austin Eckler comes back.
Yeah. Agreed. So
I'd probably put 25 on Jackson if he's still available, maybe up to 30 with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. We also have on this list, brought to you by Fantasy Pros, J.D. McKissick, who I would not target whatsoever.
No.
And then you have been watching Cincinnati all season. I've watched a couple of Cincinnati games, haven't had the opportunity to watch all of them. But Gio Bernard is also an option on this list. I think that's only because of the potential for, usually if a running back does come back in the game, it signifies that they're probably going to play the next week, but the Cincinnati Bengals might play it a little bit safer with them, considering that they don't really have any hope this season. So I would say they almost beat the Colts, though, which is...
They were up 21
very fun.
to 21 to
Yeah,
nothing.
you know what I'm pissed off about? This is a perfect week for Jonathan Taylor just to eat people's lives out. He had 12 carries for 60 yards, averaging 5.1 yards a carry or something like that. And you're going to have Cincinnati try to blow out Indianapolis in this game. I'm like, and then, I mean, he got his share of targets, so I'm happy about that. But you made Jonathan Taylor basically non-existent in the offense because Indy decided just to be trash against Cincinnati.
Yeah. Bernard, I think because Mixon's going to be on the injury report, but he's still going to probably play.
If he doesn't play, do you want to go after Bernard? I would say no, but I just want to see what your thoughts are.
No, probably not. Bernard had a rushing touch. It's so frustrating for Mixon fans. So, you know how they only use Bernard on third down?
Yeah.
So it's 3rd and goal at like the 2-yard line. They put Bernard out there and they run a draw play. So he took a touchdown from Mixon. And then when Mixon was out of the game for a short period of time, like almost a whole quarter, they put Bernard in for a series or two, and he had 8 carries for 15 yards, so 1.9 yards per carry.
It sounds like a successful afternoon.
1.9 yards per carry is pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty effective.
Mixon has stunk too all year. He averaged like 3 yards a carry in this game, but it just shows like
just wait till the second half.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's not going to matter for you by then, but
no.
So I wouldn't go after him. Now, back to the Jets' backfield. If you had to choose one guy, Frank Gore or Michael Perrin, obviously we saw what happened this weekend with the split in the backfield as to what that looked like.
Yeah.
And you know, head coach, I don't know if you even want to call him that moron in New York. He should not have an NFL. He shouldn't even have a college assistant job. He's that bad. But Adam Gase is probably going to give Frank Gore a majority of the work. But who do you want in this backfield?
Unfortunately, I think you're right because it is Adam Gase. I think Frank Gore will probably get majority of the work. Mm-hmm. But I'd rather have LaMichael. Is it LaMichael Perrine? Is that how you pronounce it?
It might be Perrine. It might be Perrin. I'd say it Perrin.
Perrin. Okay, we'll just say Perrin. If we're wrong, we're wrong. I would rather take the chance on him. He's a rookie running back. They took him in the 5th round or 4th round. Mm-hmm. So he has some draft capital, and he's younger. Like I'd rather just take the risk with him. But if you're making me choose between these two, I'd probably pick Def.
I was like, wait a minute, did he say Gore or Death? I'd rather quit.
I'd rather just jump out a building.
I would say, I'm definitely not going after Gore because the Jets rushing game is not going to get any better. So, but I would take Michael Perrin's probably going to be free for the most part. So I would most definitely, go out and try to add him to your roster, at least as a lower, if you have a revolving bench spot or a couple revolving bench spots. It just add Perrin as a potential, he did not do good against Miami. The Jets as a whole just suck. So
they just do.
I would say Perrin is the guy that I'd add just because of the potential for, a breakout or something like that. Or they start giving him more work, but he did get targeted 3 times for 2 receptions. So, there might be a floor for pass catching as well, but we'll have to see what happens with Perrin. He's the guy I add though, because there's more investment there, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
To me, I don't think there's really anyone else. If Gore is out, Gus Edwards might. I think a lot of people would pivot to Dobbins, but Edwards has been the guy there. I did say like 10 minutes ago that there's no one in Baltimore's backfield that would take over that role.
I think when Ingram left the game, I want to say they split even on carries, but I could be wrong.
So Gus Edwards might in the other side of that, but Baltimore does not have a good rushing schedule this year, strength of schedule wise. It's very bad for running backs. So out of all of those guys, I'd probably, there's at this point in the year, especially in a year where I would say we're definitely having a down season for running backs, with the exception of a few. I would say the waiver wire running back situation is pretty bleak.
It is. Yeah, it really is.
Tell me about your favorite wide receiver for this week.
My favorite wide receiver for this week, it's so tough. I know number one on this list is Mike Williams. And I don't mind Mike Williams. It really depends though if Keenan Allen is still injured. Because when Keenan Allen left that game, that was when Mike Williams kind of became the number one guy. So I don't know what's the latest on Keenan Allen. I would like to know. But if he is out for any significant amount of time, like a week or two, then I think Mike Williams should be a must-add because Herbert was targeting him hard in that game against the Saints. And he's playing Jacksonville this week, so there's a chance that it's a good matchup for Mike Williams to hopefully have a big week. Someone who's sneaky who's been good, though, is Travis. Is it Fulgham?
Fulgham, yeah.
Yeah, he's been sneaky good. Now, granted, Alshon Jeffrey still hasn't played. I don't think Deshaun Jackson has played yet. Jalen Reagor is going to be coming back off IR in a week or two. So
yeah, it's more of like if those guys aren't playing, then Fulgham's a good add because Carson Wentz literally has nowhere to throw the football at this point.
Right. So both Williams and Fulgham, they're both kind of wait and see options on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Like to see what the rest of their teams looks like.
Right.
But there's really not too, I mean, I don't know, maybe you view this waiver wire differently, but I really don't think there's that many. There's not like a great option this week that I'm trying to spend my money on.
Yeah, no, I think unless there's an injury, we've hit this point. There's going to be some rookie guys. I would suggest that there's going to be some rookie guys that are going to start coming onto the scene as the weeks go along. But I mean, man, we were talking about how good this how good this how good this wide receiver class was going to be this year. Yeah. And they have been very good. I mean, whether it's Judy, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, you've Claypool coming out of nowhere. Like this class is very, very good so far. And I don't know of a wide receiver that's a rookie that people wanted to own at the beginning of the season, with the exception of Jalen Reagor, who is not already owned right now. Mm-hmm. Because Henry Ruggs is probably still on the team at this point, right?
Ruggs had a big week. They had a bye week.
He had 3 targets for 2 receptions, 118 yards. Just
they need to target him more.
52.2 yards per reception.
Yeah.
So
there is one guy though on this list. I would say my favorite guy out of everyone on this list is probably actually Tim Patrick. Okay. Just because Cortland Sutton is out for the year. So Patrick has kind of played that role. And with Drew Lock back, he's actually been targeting him a decent amount. In the last 3 weeks on half PPR, he has 12, 20, and 12 for fantasy points. I don't really see that changing the rest of the season. I think he's going to consistently get targets at least because Judy's getting his, but they're also putting the best corner on Jerry Judy. So he's going to be kind of actually limited in some situations. So I think Tim Patrick's just going to play for the season. He's going to play the Cortland Sutton role.
He's got 2 straight 100-yard games.
Even Tim Patrick, though, I'm not really trying to go out of my way.
He's had two straight 100-yard games, and he's had 3 straight double-digit fantasy point weeks. Yeah. So I mean that's a good player to go out and try to target. I mean he's not going to do anything special. He's a 26-year-old 4th string wide receiver.
Yeah, but with injuries is right now the wide receiver too on that.
And you see that same situation with Travis Fulgham. I mean, he's like the 7th string wide receiver.
The only difference is though with Fulgham is the wide receivers are going to be coming back in the next week or two. Yeah. With Patrick, Sutton's out for the season.
Yep. That's very true. So for me, I agree with you there with Mike Williams. Mike Williams has got to be the guy. I hope the target trend continues because Mike Williams has had, I think, multiple 1,000-yard seasons as a wide receiver, but just with the way that Phillip Rivers has played the game, he's never really been targeted in, he's never been targeted that much in the red zone and down the field in the role that he knows how to play. They don't really utilize him that effectively there. So for me, I think with Mike Williams, it's more or less, getting the new quarterback, Justin Herbert, to connect with him. And if that happens, then you're going to see Mike Williams explode, but I just don't know if that explosion is going to happen. He had 9 targets week 1 when they had Tyrod out there. He had 6 targets. 8 targets this week? Is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
So, if that trend continues, Mike Williams could most definitely,
Sure.
be a guy that I would spend $30 on him because I think he should definitely. I'm surprised that he's not owned right now.
Okay.
But I would spend 30 on him. Fulgham, 10. You had your opportunity last week, but I'd spend 10. He's playing the Giants, so that could be a really, really good matchup for him.
Sure. This might be the last week for him, though.
Yeah. So I would do Fulgham maybe as a flex play. We've been talking about Keelan Cole for a while. I hope he doesn't turn into the Devontae Parker of last year, where we just go, oh, Keelan Cole, he's here. Never mind. Bye. I do agree with you on Tim Patrick, though. I actually really like him, and I think his role can be more steady. So if you had a choice between Fulgham and Tim Patrick, I'd probably take Tim Patrick.
Yeah, just because long term.
We talked about Jeffrey last week, still not owned. Obviously, he still hasn't played. So just keep an eye on that situation. And then, I mean, outside of that, I don't think, as far as like Preston Williams is still out there, not really interested. Russell Gage still out there, not interested in him either. Sterling Shepard, he was hurt, right?
Yes, he's been injured.
So he might be coming back soon, so that might be a decent ad. But outside of that, I mean, there's not, the only guy that I would even remotely look at is Jalen Reagor. If he...
Yeah, I think he's still out, though, another, 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Just keep an eye on him. Like, if you have injured reserve spots, you might be able to pick him up and throw him on there.
Sure.
Or throw him into the IR slot. But, it is what it is. So... I think that'll do it for wide receivers, unless you have anyone that you desperately want.
No, I think that's it.
At tight end, give me a tight end that you would be somewhat interested this week.
Okay. I actually love this one. If he's available, it's Dallas Goedert.
Oh, you have to get him if he's available.
If he is available and you're like, it's surprising to see that he's only owned at 32% of leagues. When he was out there with Zach Ertz, with Jalen Reagor,
he might be more targeted and more efficient in the offense right now with instead of Zach Ertz. Like, he might be coming the tight end one.
With those guys in the lineup in the beginning of the season, when not the whole team was healthy, but at least some of the team was healthy, he was still getting targeted 7-8 times a week.
Yep.
And now if he comes back, which I think there's a chance he could come back this week, although they're playing on Thursday night, so maybe not. But if he does end up coming back this week, Zach Ertz is out. Miles Sanders is out.
Right.
There's Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson probably both won't play. Still, Jalen Reagor's not going to play. There's a chance this week he could get 13 targets at the tight end position. And even when those guys come back, for the most part, Goedert still gets involved in the offense. So he should be picked up in all formats this week.
I agree. I won't add anything there. How did you reference how long he's out for?
Dallas Goedert?
Yep.
He was out for 3 weeks, I think, about 3 weeks ago. So there's a chance he could come back this week. But,
add on.
Because it's a short week, there's a chance that he's probably going to play the following week.
Yeah, so I would add him this week. Just get ahead of the 8 ball on that. There's no other tight ends that I would add. So with that being said, that completes our Week 7 waiver wire show. Tomorrow we have some good stuff coming your way. I believe it's the Trade targets, obviously. So be sure to check out the Trade Targets episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we will see you tomorrow, Fantasy Champs.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.